Hello, awesome art kiddos. How's it going today? It's me, Miss Bullock again, here to talk to you about another fun creative thing you can do at home. Have you ever marbleized something? Do you even know what marbleizing is? Well, let me show you some marbleizing examples that I have made today. Check this out. This one's still a little wet. It's drying, but isn't that cool? Look at all the bubbles and the swirls. That one's got a lot of green. Another one I did, went totally crazy with the red and orange colors. So what I'd like to do today is show you how to marbleize. You're gonna need some paper, and if you get paper, you're gonna want it to be a little bit thicker. I used this Strathmore paper, but if you have something called cardstock, that would work just as well, as long as the paper is a little on the thick side. Let's get started. You're gonna need some supplies. I've got a supply list coming your way, and then I'm gonna show you how it's done. You ready to get creative with me? Let's go. All right, I got my awesome setup here with a towel in case I make a little bit of a mess, some paper towels because I'm gonna make a little bit of a mess, and then I've got my other supplies right here that I've gathered all together. Make sure you get all your stuff together before you even think of starting, because you wanna make sure that you're ready for mixing and you don't have to run back and forth. All right, let's get started. Hey, disclaimer, make sure your parents know that you're doing this because it involves food coloring. And food coloring is a lot of fun, but this stuff stains, you guys. So you want to find a good space that you can work, that it's okay if a little mess happens and you can scrub it up. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of vegetable oil, and I'm going to pour a little bit of that into a little dish. Now, I believe you could use other types of oil. I use vegetable because it was one of my cheaper ones and I had it on hand, but you certainly could try a different type of oil if you wanted to. Now that I have a little bit of vegetable oil, I'm going to make sure I put that cap on tight. We don't need oil everywhere. And I'm going to grab some food coloring. So here's my green food coloring, and I'm going to squirt a couple drops into my container. Now you can add as much or as little as you've got. I mean, it depends on how much food coloring that you have. And I'm going to stir that food coloring into the oil. It's kind of like when you're mixing salad dressing, like an oil and vinegar, and you have to give them a good shake so they kind of squeeze all around each other. Well, that's what I'm doing here with my little stirrer. So I'm making sure that I mix each one up really well. And if you're using colors that don't blend well, just kind of wipe your stirrer in between. So now I'm going to put a little bit of each color and drizzle it onto the water. Some of it'll sink down, don't worry about that. Quite a bit will stay on top. So once I get all three colors drizzled, then I am ready to take my paper and pull a print. And that's what you're doing. You're pulling a print from the surface of the water. Get every last little drop. Boop, boop. All right, so now it's time to grab my piece of paper. Just let it drop into the water just for a little bit, and then you can pull it. When you pull it, you definitely want to pull it from a corner. I think that just is kind of for the drip and getting the best print that you could pull. Look at that. That is awesome. So I'm going to lay that to the side on a paper towel for dripping, and I'll pull another print. Now you'll probably notice the second print is not quite as bright as the first one, and that's okay. When you notice that your prints are getting a little muddy or not as bright and beautiful, just rinse out your dish and you can reset with new materials. All right, so what I'm doing here is just kind of giving you a close-up of how it looks when you mix your oil and your food coloring together. So I put just a teeny bit of oil. You can eyeball it or measure it, and a little bit of the food coloring drops, which is really cool. They ball up. but you want to stir them. Those big liquid circles of green are getting turned now into teeny tiny little individual circles of green. This is called emulsifying. That's a fancy way of saying that you're using your strong agitation of your materials to swish them all together. All right, the second time around, I was just doing the exact same procedures that I did at the first time around of adding the oil and the food coloring, but I wanted you to see what happens when you don't agitate or emulsify your two liquids together. So if you just kind of swirl them around a little bit, you're going to notice that the end result is going to look a little different. There's not going to be as much spread of the color, and so you may have more pockets of big white oil bubbles on your paper, which can also look really, really cool, but you just want to make sure that you know what you're getting when you are doing this. So make sure that you pour your liquids in and swirl them around a bit. But you notice that I didn't agitate these, so I'm not going to have the same result as the first one. Just check it out and see what happens. Well, it was a lot of fun marbleizing, and I hope you will enjoy it too. Once these dry, it's pretty cool. You could frame them. I mean, this is very frame-worthy artwork here. Or you could even cut them down to size and make bookmarks to give away to friends and family. Or you could even cut one and maybe use it as a postcard. If you did a marbleizing big enough, you might even be able to wrap a little gift with it. But the paper is kind of thick, so it's not going to wrap as easy as regular wrapping paper. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed, the video. Hey, Ramona, what do you think? Do you like the marbleizing? No, it's not food, honey. Don't eat it. All right. Bye, guys.